Okay, Mr. Bill, we are making our 493rd attempt at a crafting video, and I'm going to show you how to mine without waiting for the computer to do it. Normally you just press E and wait, but if you put the pick in hand, which I have here, and you simply strike 9 times at the ore, then you will mine. And sometimes it's nice to take a break and just let the computer do it, but sometimes it's nice to get it yourself. So the key to smithing is simply to husband ingredients that come your way in the course of the game, to be on the lookout for silver and gold that's available to you, and be sure and pick it up. And then to gather them in a place where you can throw them into a chest, a secure chest like this one, or your chest in Whiterun in your town at home. And then when you have a lot of them, to go ahead and make them, this place has a place for leather, so you can tan leather. I don't think I have any leather to show you tanning, but you can. So you just make leather from a hide. There's so many wolf hides and saber cat hides and all that stuff. It just happens to in the course of the game. What I'm suggesting is that you gather them and then make leather helmets out of them. It's a fairly efficient use of leather in terms of getting experience. It's only 2 leather and 1 leather strip, so this is says 2 leather. You have 6, but it costs 2 leather and 1 leather strip. Makes a helmet. It's worth 60 gold. Leather armor is another way. It's roughly double the ingredients, 4 leather and 3 leather strips, but it's also, which is actually a little more, it's 2 extra leather strips, but it's double the ingredients and double the worth, the value. And the value of the item is what causes your experience to go up. So 1 helmet wouldn't cause your experience to go up as much as making 1 leather armor. But the cost of making the leather helmet is half. It's less than half making leather armor. It's slightly more efficient to make the leather helmets than the leather armor. Another example of that is making iron. Here, say an iron dagger. It's even simpler. An iron dagger is 1 iron ingot and 1 leather strip, and it's worth 10. But an iron war axe is 2 iron ingots and 2 leather strips, double the materials needed, but it's 3 times the value. And the XP is based on the value. So it is more efficient in terms of gaining experience for smithing to make axes than ingots. And that should be a contribution when you should always be thinking about that when you're smithing purely for leveling's sake. If you're making armor for yourself to wear, hang the expense, that's something you're going to make 1 chest, 1 gloves, 1, just make it for yourself. Don't worry about the cost. But if you're going to do it just to level, then this is the calculation you should be making. Additionally, the really efficient way to do it is to make jewelry. And the reason is because, as I said, the value of the item determines how much experience you get. So a gold diamond necklace has a value of 1,200. Flawless diamonds don't fall out of the sky, but gold ingots are not impossible to find at all. So this obviously would be a huge smithing jump. It's probably almost an entire level, or most of a level, from 20. It should certainly get you all the way to 29 just making 1 item. But just regular diamonds and a gold ingot is 900. A gold emerald ring is 700. So what I'm saying here is make jewelry when you're doing it just to level. That's the most efficient way because the items are worth so much. So keep all the silver, keep all the gold, and keep all the gems. And then make jewelry. That levels your smithing. The other way to level is to improve things. So once you've made something like a chest armor, you can improve it at a workbench. If you've made a weapon, you can improve it at the grindstone. And the level of improvement is modest. I would say generally you're better off using the materials that you would use to improve something to make more of the original. So if you're making helmets, you'd be better off spending all of your leather making the helmet than keeping some back in order to improve the ones you do make. It's just more efficient, I believe, with smithing to actually make the item than it is to improve it. So that's pretty much smithing in a nutshell. This is the smithing tree here. And the smithing tree, these are the experience points that you get. Now you don't have to spend anything on perks, and you would still be able to, if say you found dwarven armor, you'd still be able to take the dwarven armor with I have 28, but I could have 0 smithing points. I could take the dwarven armor to a workbench, have a dwarven ingot, and still I would be able to improve it. And as this number got bigger, the amount I was able to improve it would increase. So at 0, I would be improving it very little. At 100, I would be improving it a whole lot. If you have the perk for dwarven smithing, which is right here, I think, then in addition to whatever you were getting from whatever bonus you were getting from the number of points you had into smithing, you also, whatever that is, you would improve it twice as much as that. Create dwarven armor at forges and then improve them twice as much. So if you didn't have this perk, you couldn't make dwarven armor yourself or weapons. With this perk, you can make dwarven armor and weapons, and you can improve them twice as much as you would normally be able to do. The same thing goes for Orcish and Daedric and so on. The tree itself branches to the right for heavy armors. That's heavy armor, that's heavy armor, and it's progressive. This is all better and better heavy armor. At the top of the tree is dragonsmithing, and dragonsmithing has heavy armor, but it also has light armor in it. And when you go left on the tree, you go to Elven, this is light armor. And then if we go past advanced armor over here, this is glass, and that is also light armor, and it's only light armor. Advanced armors makes scaled and plate. Plate is heavy and scaled is light, so it's kind of it's both. And although glassmithing is, again, only light. However, so it seems like, if you want to get the nice armor, you'd want to go this way. And maybe you do. I'm not saying no, but you'll find that the elven smithing weapons is going to be better than the dwarven smithing weapons, and I think also probably the orcish smithing weapons. I don't know about Emity. It's maybe. The best sword in the game in terms of damage is based on a glass sword. It also has enchants that contribute to the damage, but the base damage is, I don't know, it's in the upper 95th percentile of how much weapons it does, and it's a glass sword. So while the armor isn't heavy, which is what you may be interested in, the weapons are very good. And the weapons are also lighter, so you can swing them faster. So even though a weapon might not be maybe the equal of, say, Elven might not be the equal of Orcish or Ebony, probably equal of Orcish, but might not be the equal of an Ebony sword, say. The Ebony sword is heavier, and so you will swing it slower, so you won't hit as much. So the damage per second is higher for a glass, so you get the idea. And then Elven archers, and so it's both. So don't neglect this side of the tree. Or do, I don't know, but just so you do, you know what you're doing. Okay, so I showed you I think that's about it. The only other thing maybe I could show you is when you are smelting. So when you gather ore, you'll find that the ore weighs a pound. So here is corundum ore, and one piece of ore weighs 1 pound. And in fact, all ore, whether it's iron or corundum or steel or any of the other ones, elvish, they all weigh a pound. Gold ore weighs a pound. And then it takes 2 pieces of ore to smelt into 1 ingot. But 1 ingot also weighs 1 pound. So magically, somehow, the mass disappears by half. And 1 pound isn't a big deal. But let's say you go here to Markarth and you get a quest here just outside of a mine here in Markarth, and then you come over here. The quest tells you to come over here and kill some Forsworn, and you need to go into a mine and kill this Forsworn, and there's a bunch of gold in this mine, and you mine it all. You're holding 50 gold ore, and there's a smelter right outside. So my advice is, as soon as you can, go to a smelter and smelt the stuff, because you can only use it when it's an ingot. There's no good to you as ore. So you're going to smelt it sooner or later. So just smelt it as soon as you can, and then cut down the weight in half. If you've got 50 pieces of ore, that's 50 pounds. You smelt it, it's only 25 pounds. So that's the weight. So I think that's it. So to review, there's only 2 ways to improve your smithing. One of them is to create armor, and the other is to and weapons, and the other is to improve armor and weapons. And what I'm advising you to do is keep all your hides when you kill animals, because you're going to have them anyway, and then turn them into helmets or whatever suits you. But remember the efficiency model. Make sure that the thing that you're making is worth as much as possible for the leather you're using. If it costs, even if it's worth more, if it costs you 50 leather to make it, it's not worth it. You could have spent something else and made more of them. The other thing is, when you're actually leveling, it's important to focus on the jewelry. That's the thing that really levels your smithing quickly. Other things level your smithing too, like making armors, and you may want to do that. But that is the most efficient way. I guess the last thing is that there is a spell called Transmute, and I'll put it in a link down, but we'll put a link down below about where you can get it. And Transmute basically turns your iron into silver, and then if you have silver, it turns it into gold. So basically you're turning iron ore into gold. And as you can see, since gold is the most, or since jewelry is the most efficient way to level your blacksmithing, this is very handy. So you can just run around when you're not using your shield, just put Transmute on and just transmute gold as you run around, walking through the city, any place where you don't need to actually have the shield equipped. Just bind it to a key and then flop over to it and transmit. And of course this will also increase your alteration skill, which, you know, may be handy. And I'll leave a link about how to get there, how to get that one. The other one is a quest you can do that increases the amount of experience you get from blacksmithing by 15%. And I'll leave you a quest for that. Okay, that's it. I'm going to keep this one short. Let me know what you think, and I will talk to you on Saturday. Okay, so long, buddy.